Hey, this is Jennifer Walden. Thanks so much for joining me for Mix's Sound for Film and Television Awards season virtual event. We're checking out Amazon Studios' film Sound of Metal, and here with me are sound supervisor, sound designer Nicolas Becker.
Hello.
Sound and music editor Carolina Santana.
Hey.
Production sound mixer Phillip Bladh.
Hi.
And re-recording mixers Jaime Baksht, Michelle Couttolenc.
Yes. Hi.
And Carlos Cortes.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys so much for being here. Sound of Metal takes us on this journey with Ruben, who is a metal band drummer, and he experiences sudden and near total hearing loss. And on the sound side, you guys explore Ruben's POV, creating a track that tries to realistically convey his impaired sense of hearing. There's a really wonderful scene in which Ruben is eating dinner with other members of a deaf community that have accepted him into the fold. In Ruben's POV, the dinner feels subdued, but then it switches to the camera's POV, and we hear that this dinner is actually a really lively event. So let's break this scene down from production to post, starting with you, Phillip. What was your plan for capturing this scene? What mics did you choose, and where did you set them up?
Hi. So from production, since it's a movie that takes place in a deaf community, we did a lot of things like planting mics under tables and contact mics under surfaces. And then we recorded everything pretty straightforward, like you would a regular movie, just keeping in mind that it is going to be handed over to post at one point to be essentially taken inside the mind of our lead character. We used the chef's CMIT boom mic, and then all the banging and chiming of plates and the sound of the table itself was all just done by the actors, and we did our absolute best to capture it in the real world.
Like, because they're banging on the table, did you put contact mics on the table too to capture that like banging sound?
We did have some contact mics that we laid. It was like a wireless kind of setup we had on a electro wireless pack that we had connected to a contact mic, and whenever we could, we would take it underneath the table with some super stick or some like butyl, kind of like what the art department uses to stick paintings to walls and stuff. Sometimes we'd use that to stick the packs, and we did it as often as we could. I'm not sure if anyone has. I'm not 100% if we did it on this or not. And then I don't know if any of that was actually ever used in post. It was just kind of a reference that we were trying to get. I don't know. Did you guys use any of the contact mic stuff that we placed in any of the post situations?
We used it. We filter also the boom mic, and also we had stuff from Foley also. So the idea that we were, I mean, like most of the time we were trying always like mix of technique from process from the production sound to Foley to white tracks edit, and trying always to find the best result. So there is no rules, each time we try to find the best result, whenever the process is, it's always nice to try different things. So sometimes we keep only the production sound, sometimes we keep only the the contact mic, sometimes we rebuild, sometimes it's Jaime which is mixing, we always try to find the best compromise, I think.
Yeah.
So there is no. I mean, like what is good, what is interesting with the way we're working, it's not like, okay, this should be Foley, that this should be this should be this. Like we try things and we see what is the best result. There is no, like a specified process for everything. What is important is the result.
I would like to say that also a part of using the filtering, we use a lot of reverberation, different type of reverberations and delays. Do you remember, Nico?
I also remember that when I was with Nico, he pushed me to the limits because I was very subtle with those knocks on the table, and he told me to go all the way, and I think that's why it also becomes very vivid at some point.
I mean, like also that was, I mean, I was not there during this sequence, but also the fact that Darius, the director, spent a lot of time with us, and so he was able to give like I was maybe was in the shooting for maybe 10 days, like from the concert to maybe when they start to go in the countryside in the deaf community. So I didn't follow everything, but I went there and I felt a lot of things from that. Like I had a lot of good memories, but also Darius was always saying like, okay, this was really loud. This was, like it was always there with us to actually kind of recover, the memory of the sound or the mood. I think the mood is a very important thing.
Looking at the sound design and the edit on this dinner scene, what were some of the elements that you wanted to bring into the production sound? What were some of the things that you wanted to add to help show the fun and the liveliness that these people were having? What were some of your sonic choices for that?
What we did that because I was there during the shooting, so we did a lot of white tracks, field recordings. We did a lot of atmospheric sound recordings to be able to bring a lot of element, because most of the time when you are in a shooting like that and there's so much work to be done in a day, you really focus on the acting or the voice and the sound produced by the body of the main actors, so you can't really you really don't have the time to, because it's also quite improvised, during in the set, the way it's shot. So what we were doing that we were most of the time I was trying to after that to be able to re-record all the different place in multi-channel, so with like multi-channel microphones, and so what I wanted to do, it's not to add so much things, but I wanted just to make it right and kind of I think what was very important, for example, it was like the fact that the first sequence, which is a concert, will be treated as it's not going to be a playback concert. It's going we knew from the start it's going to be super important to get that right, and during the shoot, and we knew that it's going to be very important to get like the two main actors to be able to perform and to play. So we want in a way to create like to put the audience and the actor in a kind of documentary feeling, but also in the other hand be able to recreate what you can the experience you can have, not as an not as a people look at the film, but as a person who could be really in the concert, So we try to and I think you have this, now you get this feeling, you really have the feeling to be on stage with the musician, and you feel that they're playing for real, and it's not like playback. And for us, it was extremely important to have that at the start of the film, like that you don't, you really believe in it. It's really like you emerge in such kind of raw and tough reality, and straight away it puts the audience in the film.
Looking at the mix on that dinner sequence, how did you guys shape it? How did you shape that sequence to have the greatest emotional impact for the audience?
The thing is, it seems like when you don't hear anything, it's not true that you don't hear anything. Always you can, through the body, you can still feeling a lot of sounds. So all the elements that Nicolas work around with Carolina, we muffle the part that
Subjective, no?
yeah, the part that is subjective, and then when the reality comes back, yeah, they change between the muffled sounds and the reality. Was really marked, really no, Michel?
But Jaime, it's a bit the opposite at the start. The way you have mixed the first sequence, like when he's in his airstream. In the morning you hear the grinding machine, you hear everything, like the drops of the coffee. And then the next day when he's deaf, you see all the same shot but totally muffled. And I think it's a bit the kind of mirror, a kind of mirroring to that first, so that these two first sequences.
Yeah, it's true.
No, but Carlos, also what you said is also the fact that you already. What was very interesting with the process, that it's something we get from the dialogue, so we pushed it with the sound editing. Carlos pushed it, in the first pass of the mix, and even Jaime, so everybody was like kind of bringing some new ideas, or the fact that it was a very open, like an atelier kind of way of working. For me, it was very important that when you feel that you have the right team with you, you have to let them go and be creative, and just try to enjoy this thing. Of course, you have to control that, but you have to also, when you have like so much talented people with you, you have to let them go also. So I think it was like a very, very collective feeling about, oh yeah, maybe I can do that better. Oh, I have an idea. And also the foley artist, Eiki Kosi in Finland, was also trying. Everybody was trying to push forwards. So it was like a very playful to do this film. It was very hard because we worked very hard, but it was like very. I don't know. We had a lot of fun to do it. No.
Yes.
I also think that the pacing throughout the scenes, and how the management of the quiet places when he's emulating the deaf, and louder places becomes a really important part of how everything becomes very pronounced in a way.
The dynamic of the film was not easy to find, because if you make like let's say if it's in a theater, you can control a bit the level, but it's not so easy, because you start with something super loud, and people would say, oh, maybe it's too loud, so they put the volume down, and then after they can't hear anything. So because it was like we had so much question about that. What's the right dynamic of the film? How we should start? Should we start loud or not loud, or it was. And we had no answer, so we had no problem at the end. We said like, okay, we have to choose something we like, and we see how the people react, because you can't. I mean, that's the only thing, that even now with DCP, it's hard to control the level in the theater. So, but at home, it's nearly impossible. So we ask also what was very clever. I think we really think about doing a very to really do a version for TV, like where the dynamic would be like Jaime spent a lot of time to find the right dynamic for the film, for the streaming version. No, Jaime, no?
Yeah, it's true.
Because we knew that the life of the film might be not like in big theater. So we also that it would be very important to do something which will work very well on TV. And of course, I mean, like, I hope that after the pandemic, people will be able to come back and see the film in real theater in 5+1, because it's much, much more impressive. No, I think it's good. No, I mean, I really would love the people to, for them to, after when this crazy thing will be finished, to be able to say like, okay, I want to see it for real now, like in a nice theater.
Yeah, indeed. See it for real, right?
And I would say that for me the powerful thing of this scene was also a little bit scary, because we had, all of us I think, had to go through this journey and asking for people who are musicians and work with sound to go through that that transition of imagining what it would be like to lose something so important. And this scene is that moment of, I guess, loneliness in Ruben's POV, but also so informative of what the deaf community really is, and that you get to see in contrast with another scene when later on he knows how to sign and he's involved in that same dinner but in a different way, was for me super important, because it changed the way that I was approaching the whole work, because I had find how close they were, how present they were when they were communicating, which was something that I was scared, because it was imagining losing my greatest passion, and discovering that in that scene, not only because we get to share a moment that we don't get to share unless we're in this kind of situation, was something really important for me in this whole process, and one of the things that I learned the most about this film.
But
So,
it's very interesting what you said, because we know that we're always thinking about imagination by imagination, but now biologists know that imagination is also mostly come from real. So the fact that to create like a immersive process where it was real deaf people, we had a lot of contact, we were shooting in a real condition from the start of the film to the end of the film, uh, that the actor were able to perform, like Reese was able to sign, like, and so on and so on. So it was like, and I think this is like creates so much. It brings so much layers, like so much fiction in it, because this is something extremely right. This is extremely normal, because the people, they don't hear, so they are very loud and kind of brutal and so much energy, but it's just like amazing because it's true, and it's like I love this idea, like when reality can create a fiction which is beyond to any fiction, and I love that, and I think it's why I like so much to work with director which have this strong connect, like Andrea Arnold also, or these people which have strong connection with reality, with life, and with this energy,
But you know something, Nicolas? In fact, at the beginning of the work in the Sound of Metal, I was a little bit afraid, because the story about someone that gets deaf, if you your life is dedicated to mixed films, it's like a little bit, I said, oh my goodness, I don't want to. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to understand what should I do here, because I don't want to get deaf anyway. So it took me a while to get into the film. Thanks to you.
Yes, but it's also interesting to understand. It's not about it's what Paul Rassi, in the film. It's not about what you lose. It's more about what you do with it and how you.
At the end of the story, yes, I
you learn from it, which is like also what is so beautiful about this film, because it's actually very special, this film, because what's happening now with this pandemic, it's so resonating through this film, about how we have to learn how to do it in a different way, and how to be able to go through that, so I think it's really special, like the resonance between the what's happened, reality and I do feel that because it's happening, because it's there, it's also when you go in the reality, you can also capture like what's gonna happen next. I do believe that, if you're really connected, it's I mean, all the project I'm doing now, they were in a way connected to this pandemic, which is super strange, Or I don't know, maybe it's you put that in the work you do, but it's both, it's no, I think, and I was speaking to Darius, and we said like, okay, this film, I mean, like for me to have done this film and what it means, and how I grow myself from working on it, make me it's easier to go through this pandemic. I don't know. It's like this, and I do believe that people, without saying it, maybe think about that with this film. I don't know.
No, I think so, about
Hmm.
being faced with a challenge and finding a way to continue to move forward, especially when losing a sense, so I guess in the pandemic would be losing a sense of being around other people. Isolation, dealing with isolation.
And how to learn to reconnect yourself through different media, and like again to find new interaction and new way of getting feedback, or body language, or like for example and now it's in France, everybody's got the mask, so the importance of the eyes, everybody's like, now it's transform the way you communicate, so you have to learn how to read in like just like the eyes, of people.
Very true.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys so much for taking this time to share your thoughts about this really amazing film. Best of luck to you all this award season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.